Well, just look at us. The last 3 episodes of Profit or Loss have been amazing. For the first time in a very long time, we're on a 3-win streak. Welcome your faces back to episode number 77 of the series Profit or Loss. I buy faulty electronic items from eBay, attempt to fix them and sell them for a profit. The goal is to reach £1,000 and we are at £220.75. The last time we got 4 wins in a row was probably around about the episode 50 mark, so it's been a while. Roll on the profits. What do we have for today? Been a while since we've done one of these. I paid a grand total of only £20 for this Xbox One S. The eBay listing states that it's no power. So of course, the first thing we're going to do is test that theory. Now, the condition-wise, it's not fantastic. It's seen better days, but it's also not horrendous. The good news about this is that it looks like it's not been touched before. The warranty sticker is in fact intact. In fact, intact. I like that. I get a little bit of a crackle. Okay. What happens when we go to push the power button? Nothing. Shock. Would you believe it? Fault has been confirmed. Pretty self-explanatory. It means that we can just take this apart and investigate to see what our issue actually is. Before we do that, a huge thank you to today's sponsor, PCB Way. PCB Way is the solution for all your PCB needs. Imagine this scenario. You're in dire need of a reliable service to print some custom circuit boards. Those boards need to be great quality, have fast shipping and be at a very good price. PCB Way have you sorted. Simply start your instant quote and customize your PCB to how you want it. Anything from thickness to solder mask color. And then in a few simple steps, you'll be ready to check out. PCB Way also offers services such as CNC machining, 3D printing, injection molding, and sheet metal fabrication. Why not check out the gift store where you can buy preheaters, soldering irons, multimeters, and much more. Head on over to PCBWay.com to get started. I'm not a fan of trying to preserve the warranty sticker, if I'm honest with you. So we'll just take that off as normal. Why do I get a really horrible feeling that it's going to be liquid damage? So far, so good. No signs of liquid damage from what I can see. How dusty are ye? We look to have what looks to be some crust around the fan area, so I do wonder if perhaps something has fallen down here. Now, I'm going to make a bold claim, and I'm going to say it's either going to be just a replacement power supply, or it might be the MOSFET on the 12-volt rail. I've not had one of those in a very, very long time, so it would be nice. Open sesame. All right, yeah, a little bit dusty. That's a 1 terabyte drive as well, so that's pretty cool. Probably need to check the health status of it. It's probably been in the Xbox for about 56 years. But yeah, this is quite dusty. We just take some of these things out. First things first, testing this bad boy power supply. Do we have 12 Vs? No! Doesn't look like it. Just see if I can get a better connection just to make sure. Yeah, we definitely don't. Wow, just a bad power supply then. And best believe I've probably got around about 30 power supplies for an Xbox One S, so that is a nice little profit. Let us take this one, for example. Just make sure we have 12 volts on this one. That looks a little bit more promising. It's loading. Come on, there it is, 12 volts. Now just confirm before I'm going to take this apart and just give it a clean anyway. But just make sure we don't have a beep on, beep off issue. We're going to power it on. Jubbly. Fan spin straight away as well. Amazing. Turn it off. Give this thing a nice clean, replace the thermal paste, and it will practically be as good as new. Again, I'll test the hard drive just to make sure that it's okay. You don't really need to see me do the cleaning part of this. So I'll be back with you in a second. Here is the 1 terabyte drive. Now, it reads as good, but it's had 42,918 power ons, and the hours that it's been on for is 14,488. Needless to say, it's probably going to fail, if not tomorrow, then maybe in 6 months to a year's time, and I want this console to be able to last whoever buys it the longest time possible. So I'm just going to put one of my 1 terabytes that I have in, which have either been obtained at zero cost, or I've pulled them from a donor board, so it won't cost me anything. Now, we need to install the system software OSU 1, so I'm really hoping that this goes through and that I've got the latest version of OSU 1 from Microsoft. Looking promising. Got the little green bar. Okay, good. And hopefully I can confirm that's all working. I've tested it all out. I've installed OSU and Rise Son of Rome is installing, so the disk drive is all good. That is item number 1 fixed. Not a huge profit, I'll tell you at the end, but it puts us in good spirits for item number 2. I'm opening this one up and I don't believe it. They sent me some sweets. And I'm not kidding you as well. If I had to choose a favourite sweet, Tang Fastics would be up there. There's more sweets. Oh my God, my second favourite chocolate. This is so strange. Milky Bar and Tang Fastics and some Whisper Bites as well. Maybe they're just trying to soften the blow for what I'm about to try and fix. That's incredibly kind of whoever that is. If you are watching, thank you so much. Check and see if there's anything else in here. Nothing, no. I've just looked at the listing for this, and it's one that I purchased from someone called Raf. So I appreciate you, Raf, for the sweeties. Thank you very much. I paid a grand total of £180 for this faulty PlayStation 5. What's the good thing about this? I hear you all asking. It's got the warranty sticker intact. Look at it. I will say, a little bit dusty up in the grills, so we'll be subject to a nice cleaning. But supposedly, it turns on. So let's test that theory. Plug in the power. I can already see the HDMI port looks a bit mashed up. Let's just confirm that we do in fact get power. The blue's okay, but I might change this out for a just for a standard white case, to be honest. This one's quite dirty. It turns on, which is good news. Does it go to a white light? Do we have a disc? No disc, unfortunately. There we go. So we get a white light. I'm not going to test the display because I'll show you why in a sec. Don't know if you can see from this angle, but you can see the clasp at least looks very worse for wear here. I don't think the actual port is loose. No, it doesn't seem that loose, to be honest, but this is probably 90% going to be obviously somebody's mess this up because we can see on the plastic, but the HDMI ports on PS5s aren't that strong. So combining that with somebody's relentlessness of trying to plug in the HDMI port and wiggle it about and all of that, it's not going to make for a good combination. So do we have any surprises going into this console? It's definitely an earlier revision one. I'm gonna actually guess a 1000 series. Yeah, 1016A. So it is definitely very old. Hence why it needs a clean. Take off ye old warranty sticker. SSD? No. Oh my gosh. What on earth has happened here? How this thing hasn't overheated is beyond me. Look at the state of that. Whoa. I feel super itchy. This is really going to need some TLC. Down to the main sort of motherboard now, and yeah, I mean, this essentially is clean, which is nice to see. Be good to also inspect the liquid metal and see how that's held up. Presuming absolutely fine, because it's liquid metal. Yeah, OG PS5. Liquid metal is kind of bare as well, subject to a massive clean. There is a screw rattling down here as well. Let's avoid any potential mistakes by cleaning up this liquid metal we have here. Might as well sort it out on here as well. Right then, over to the scope. What's the situation with this HDMI port then? Yeah, so as we know, factory, because it hasn't been opened before. So, yeah, look, it's not looking good for the port, hey? It's usually the first two over here that always break as well. These two, look. The port definitely needs to be changed out, which is fine. Oh, this one on the end. That's ground though. So for this process, our hot air gun sits on a lovely, jubbly 480 degrees Celsius, 99% airflow. We remove this little thingamabob, so it doesn't get melted into oblivion. And we use the biggest tip that we've got on the Atten hot air station. Now, I'm not going to add any leaded solder to this port. The unleaded on the board already will simply do the job. So we just rotate the air, and this port any second will fall out. There it goes. Like that. Yeah, and we can see that that port was not in a great condition, hey? While it's still hot, back on the hot air, and we use our solder sucker. This is just to clear out the ground holes whilst I'm on the back. Focus the heat over here, look. And when it moltens, should be a nice easy pop. There's those two. Come over here to the right. Do have to be cautious here because of the diode that we have right next to it. But that looks good. See here we got the diode and we've got the cap, all still intact. Turn the board over, scrape away some of this factory flux because that is my personal preference. Do not in any way, shape or form have to do that. Fume extractor goes on because health is wealth. Grab our flux and first of all we're just going to get rid of this solder that we have on the board. My soldering iron here is only at 350 degrees Celsius. It's something that I've been wanting to use on a thicker board like a PS5 because I've been using 350 on Nintendo Switches. So this is the Hacker. I just want to see how it fares. Because previously I was using 450. And I'm starting to think that I don't need to do that with the Hakko. Sorry, 420, not 450. 420 was what I was using. But that seemed to do the job absolutely fine. Let's see if it fills up the ground holes the same as what it does on 420. Let's hold that there. See what happens. Does the solder go all the way through the board? This part's important. The solder needs to go through the board because when I use the drop method, let's just hold it here. Maybe I'll see it drop in a sec. There it goes. Okay, let's try here. Okay. I'll have a look in a sec. That sticks to the pads really nice. Look at that. I wonder if, because it's a lower temperature, it actually leaves more solder on the pads than if you were to use hot. Because if you were to use hot, it would follow the iron and not stick on the pads. You see what I'm saying? I could be talking absolute rubbish right now. I just want to see the back and see if that solder has gone through. Has it gone through? Not massively. Not as much as I would like it, that's for sure. Because I would really like it to be hugging the legs of the HDMI port itself. So what I am going to do is just put a little bit of flux on the back and put some solder on the back side. Then I'm going to have lots of solder to hug the ground legs of the port. Just put it there. And this should be enough. I'll see how it gets on. Could be horrendous, but if we don't try these things, we don't know. And then I can't share it with you. Little clean, just get rid of that flux that we have. Okay, that's prepped, nice and ready. Now just prep the actual PS5 HDMI port. And again, just a tiny bit of flux over these pins. Just to help with the solder. Wow, that's actually really smooth. That looks good to me. Now we hang the board over the edge of the desk. Prep this ready to go, so we're going to just put some flux down. Not too much though. Too much flux is not nice. 480 degrees Celsius, airflow speed 99%. Underneath the edge of the board just here, and we're now waiting for all of this to molten, which shouldn't take us too long because it is leaded solder. And again, it'll be interesting to see what happens in the anchor points here, the ground holes. Should be really satisfying to see it liquefy with the solder on the other side once it goes all the way through the board. So the pads in the middle are liquefying, which is good. There we go, look at that, there's the drops. And this side, very satisfying, very satisfying. Now we drop the port on. Just like that. Now we're going to move the air back and forth. Or should I say left to right. And now I'm just going to move the port around. Get it a little bit jiggy. Make sure that it's bonding properly with the actual board itself. Hoping that all of the solder is going through the ground holes. 3 out of 4 is also okay. But I think probably about here we are good. So I'm going to come off in 3, 2, 1. Come off the heat. Lightly pushing down with my tweezers, very lightly. Waiting for that to solidify. There it goes. And now move quick to give it a nice clean. Sometimes you need to go over the pins, sometimes not. What's today going to be? Now we just get all of that flux off whilst we're here. Look at that. Brilliant. Looking really, really good. See the back of the board? How's that looking as well? Yeah, absolutely fine. Lovely. No need to go over these. Just clear off the flux. Looking good. A nice standard port. Leaning a little bit to the left there, as you can see, but every single one is making a fine connection. I will just test and make sure that they're all solid. You can see that on this one, the solder's come through roughly around about halfway up that leg, which is fine. That one is solid. This one is solid. And if we go to the front one, that one's also solid just up there. Go ahead and make sure they are all solidly on. They are, but do you know what? I am going to sort it. I'm going to move it over just a tad. The tiniest bit. Shouldn't actually require any flux for this, but we'll see, because I could really mess up. So I'm going to swap my hands now because I need to tap it with the right because it needs to go over this way. Wait for that solder to liquefy, which it is just about now. Give it a little tap. Probably about there. See what happens. Come off the heat. Is that going to be okay or not? Am I going to need to add flux to rectify this situation? Or are they all going to be solid joints? Is that more in line? Yeah. Doesn't look like it needs flux either. Nice. They were all connected, so I just needed to give it that little nudge. But yeah, if we look down here. Nice. Just to confirm. All absolutely fine. Nice and ready to at least give this a little test. Alright, spoiler, I have reset everything and given it a test. In order to test, I had to disable HDCP anyway. But yeah, it's looking all good. It's just at the moment installing a game, so the disk drive is all good. It works fine. There we go. Can confirm all fixed. I've swapped it over for a white case. This one is quite a bit cleaner than the blue one, so I think it will do better to sell. It's still got some marks, so not absolutely spotless, but will do the job. I'm going to keep it a 2 for 2 today because it will be nice for Sally's spectacular spreadsheet. So our cost was bang on £200 actually, £20 for the Xbox One S and £180 for the PS5. Parts was just the HDMI port, which is 50p because the power supply I pulled from a donor. Now, sell price. If you watched last video, you would have heard me speaking about how the prices of everything at the moment is just dropping like crazy. 1TB Xbox One S, I think I'll be lucky to get £50 for, which is usually around about £20 cheaper than what I would originally list for. And the PS5, I'm actually going to say £230. Brings our total sale price to £280. So today we are working with a gross profit of £54.30. Let's add it on, 4 in a row, 54.30, bringing our total profit of the series to £275.05. Little bit of a shorter one, but if I maybe introduce another PS5 or something, that profit could be gone if I was unable to fix it, you know? So I'll take 4 out of 4. Maybe next time, 5 out of 5. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoy this type of video, I'll leave the playlist for it up here. Hit the thumbs up button and subscribe if you're new. And I cannot wait to see you in the next one. Peace.